nice bikes just pulled in. So, welcome to another episode, Barnsley Biker Video Diaries. I'm currently at the cowshed down in Derbyshire, near Tideswell, and going to go for a bit of a meander round, just making the most of what we're having some absolutely stunning weather at the moment. So I'm trying to make the most of the weather and explore some of the back roads of Derbyshire. So I'm going to take you along with me. Yeah, let's go and enjoy some Derbyshire sunshine. These 4 bikes have only just turned up. So a couple of Triumphs and a nice early kettle Calf Racer CX500. Might even be a 650. Anyway, let's get on the way. Enjoy some of this sunshine. You come into the cowshed, the food is excellent, to be fair, and service is very, very good. Just got to watch that entrance a little bit. It's a bit on the gravelly side, so just take care. But I know I've taken you on quite a few sorties through Derbyshire, enjoying some of the back roads, and we're probably going to be going down roads that you're fairly familiar with, that we've ridden many times. But one thing I really wanted to talk about on this journey, if you like, is what I sometimes consider to be one of the 8th wonders of the world. Dry stone walling. Even today I look at dry stone walling, look at the extent, look at where it's being built, look at how long it's stood there, with awe and wonder. When you look into it, I mean, I'm in the Peaks District at the moment, and apparently in the Peak District alone there's estimated to be 26,000 miles of dry stone wall. Now, I did a little bit of looking up. I've always been fascinated by it, and I've had a go at doing it. It's a very skilled job to do dry stone walling properly, and it's one of those skills that's dying out these days. There are a few people have carried it on, and I think their work is in high demand all the time, because there's so few of them able to repair damaged walls, etc. But dry stone walling dates back over 4,000 years across Europe, Northern Europe, but really started to proliferate in Great Britain in the sort of late 18th, early 19th centuries, when for various reasons fields were being enclosed, sheep farming became a big thing, so a lot of the dry stone walls in this area were to create sheep pens or to divide land up, etc. So the majority of the dry stone wall that you'll see in this area is 250 years old, but a lot of it is still standing as good as the day it was built. And you start to question who built it, how long did it take. They say 26,000 miles in the Peak District alone. I again looking it up a little bit in preparation for having a chat, 180,000 miles estimated in the whole of the UK. You find regional variations in the style of the dry stone walling. Some of that is down to local needs, some of it's down to the local materials, but the basic technique, the basic design doesn't vary that much. Basically you'll have two layers side by side which taper inwards until they reach the top. Between the two layers it will be filled with smaller stones, gravel, etc. And then there'll be capping stones on top. This is where the designs vary most, is the way that the capping stones are arranged or what's used. Down in Cornwall, excuse me, down in the West Country, Devon, Cornwall, down there, the habit is to lay turf along the top of the walls, so you get a little bit of grass growing, and they will encourage plants to grow out of the walls, your rock plants, etc. Round here there tends to be a row of capstones laid along the top of the wall just to finish it off. But what amazes me is you see the dry stone wall and literally it has no respect for the contours of the land. They burned it straight up some of the steepest hills and across some of the highest, what we class as mountains in this country, irrespective of the ascent or descent of the terrain, the undulations of the terrain. And there's not dry stone walls. I mean, the phrase comes from the fact that literally there's no mortar, there's nothing holding these walls together other than the interlocking selection of the stones by the builder. Nothing else to hold them together other than gravity and the careful selection of stones. And the stones generally are undressed. You know, they are very lightly dressed to fit. They're just chosen as they build the wall. They choose the stone that meets the requirement the best. Another astounding fact that mind-blowing, as I say, when you see some of the remote locations that these walls are being built, you can see them running across the countryside. Now, I chose this route because I know once we get up here there's a lot of dry stone walls, fields that have got dry stone walls marking their boundaries. Right? Every single cubic metre of dry stone wall here contains 1 metric ton approximately of stone. So when you start to think about a mile of dry stone walling, this is where I start mixing my metric and my imperial, but a mile of dry stone walling is going to contain 1,500 tons of stone. Bear in mind these walls were built before cars, before lorries. Literally every piece of stone had to be hauled to where they needed it by man or by horse or mule or whatever they were using at the time. Which, you know, makes the feat of the 180,000 miles, the majority of which was built in a period of approximately 200 years, absolutely stunning. I mean, look over there on my right. How many miles of dry stone walls are there? It's just like absolutely awesome. Now, I mean, it's a glorious day for a ride today as well, but yeah, just taking in. what the manpower required. I mean, how much could you build in a day? So the manpower required to build in the Peak District 26,000 miles of dry stone wall. How do you do it? Absolutely mind-blowing. You can see, follows the ridge line over there. I mean, who decided where the walls went? I've no idea, but and you can see, yeah, in places the walls are starting to crumble and fall down for various reasons. Not least, a lot of them get damaged by cars, accidents out on the hills where dry stone walls run along the side of footpaths and that. People clamber over them to take shortcuts and knock them down. People, believe it or not, if the footpath has got a little bit too muddy, it's not unknown for people to take stones out of the wall to put onto the footpath so they don't have to walk through the mud. Which is, well, it's vandalism basically, because again, these walls still have a use, still have a purpose, you know. They use them as pens when they bring the sheep down off the hills, so they can round them up, quarantine them and check them. When it's breeding season, the sheep are brought down for the lambing, and they'll have enclosures where the sheep are put for that purpose. Coming into Monash, today we're not stopping at the old smithy. Having been to the cow shed, we're going to give the old smithy a miss today. But I'm going to be fair, I'm going to follow this road. I've been on it once. I'm not 100% sure of the way it's going to take me, but I'm going to try and retrace the steps from my last journey down this way. Okay, you see down there you've got down into the valley, but still dry stone walls running down. Sheep there in the field. Yeah, got to be classed as one of the eighth wonder of the world, at least 8th modern wonder of the world. You know, might not be the prettiest things you'll see, but very much you know you're in Derbyshire, you know you're in England or the Great Britain with the dry stone walls. I'm sure they have it in other countries in Europe, but yeah, miles and miles and miles of it. Okay, I'll let you enjoy the ride for a little bit. I'll shut up, but yeah, I will share some more of the images of the walls in the video. A lot of old farm, but also mining buildings, lead mining, mineral mining in this area. So that could be what that building was over on the left. You see there, just running straight up the hillside, and I've seen walls going up hills steeper than that, especially when you get into the Lake District. Literally they're going up the sides of mountains. See, here on my left, you know, walking up that will be hard enough, building a wall up it. If anybody's wondering, as we go along, you will intermittently see wooden posts laid up against the wall, might not be clear from the video, but they're basically on the inside and the outside of the wall at regular intervals. See there, good example. Basically the sheep can get over the walls, so the farmer will run a length of barbed wire along between those posts to stop the sheep from getting over. There's been a lot on Facebook over the last few years basically about insects and the decline in insects and the impact it's having on the decline of native birds, etc. And it has been noticeable the last few years riding the bike that there's been rides even in spring and summer where I've ended up with few or no flies on my visor whatsoever, basically proving the point that we're losing the insect population. This year good news for the environment, not good news if you are a biker, but this year I have had more flies. I've had more rides where at the end of the ride I am struggling to see out of the visor, and today's another one of those days.